birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. I'm going to see Pink with my sisters. There's one of them. Hi, welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. I talk about books, sometimes other things. In fact, I'm going to talk about a few other little things that were all about July. July is my birthday month. If any of you do not know that, my birthday is on July 31st. It was quite an evening, and I can't wait to share some of that with you. But first, let's talk about the books that I read in July. The first book that I finished in July was A Lady's Guide to Mischief and Murder by Dianne Freeman. She writes books in a series called The Countess of Harleigh Mysteries. They're like a cozy, historical murder mystery. In this one, the Countess of Harleigh is off with some family members for an impromptu wedding for her niece, I believe. And yeah, some hijinks ensue, and somebody is trying to murder somebody, I guess. And so they are busy figuring it all out, as well as the lady Harleigh and her love interest still need to figure out whether or not they're going to tell the family that they're engaged. So they're kind of keeping that a secret. I gave this one 4 blossoms. I really enjoy these books by Dianne Freeman, and I'm going to continue to read this. This is book 3. I can't wait to read book 4. The second book that I finished in the month of July was Winter's Heart. This is book 9 of The Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan. I actually am getting more into this series than I thought. I really enjoyed this one. I got a little bit more of Matt. I'd almost forgotten what it was that he had gone off to do for Egwene or Elaine, and so yeah, it was nice to get a little bit more of him. Perrin's wife in this one, something happens with her, so he's a little angry by the end of this book. So yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. 3.5 blossoms. So it's not as everyone talks about the slog, but I'm not feeling it. I'm just not. Yeah, I like these. The next book that I finished in July was Boudica, Dreaming the Serpent Spear. This is book 4 of the Manda Boudica series. I gave this 5 blossoms. Can't believe that every single one of these books in the Boudica series was a 5 blossom. There are a lot of really heavy themes, so of course I made sure to save my Discworld for the comic relief afterwards, so that's a good thing. But I really appreciated the obvious research that Manda did into this time period. And I remember when I started reading the book, the first couple of chapters, and my friend got up that morning as I had started Boudica, and she immediately went back into her room and then came back out with a box of tissues because apparently I got really emotional. There's a lot that happened at the end of that third book that was very traumatic for our characters, and they're dealing with the aftermath of that, and it just broke my heart a little bit more. But I knew that this is part of the history. These are things that did happen. I liked how Manda changed a little bit of that final end of the story. So I appreciated that very much, and it actually made more sense. So in reading the notes at the end, it helped to hear her thought process of why she chose to change that one little thing. So yeah, I'd love to pick up some more books by Manda in the future. As I said earlier, I made sure that I saved those Discworld books for after reading Boudica. I knew that I was going to need some comic relief. So I picked up Terry Pratchett's Small Gods and Lords and Ladies. Both of these gave me just what I needed to get me out of that sad little funk at the end of Boudica. I gave Small Gods 3.5 blossoms. The next book, which was Lords and Ladies in the Discworld, and that is book 14. And we have Granny Weatherwax and some others that have gone off to deal with this wedding that is happening and some things that are going on that aren't quite right. I found that amusing, and I gave that book 4 blossoms. The next book I picked up became available, and that was the 10th book of The Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan, Crossroads of Twilight. Again, it came available. I try not to do more than one a month, but it came up available, so I went ahead and I jumped right in. Again, we have more of Matt, we have more Perrin, we've got some more stuff going on with Rand and Min and Egwene and Elaine. It's just, there's just more stuff. There's a lot more going on, and it's just, the momentum is starting to pick up, and we've got Matt, and I keep finding his stuff very amusing. I don't know why. It's just, he's got himself in a little bit of a pickle that he doesn't want to be in, but there you have it. So yeah, I'm enjoying these. I gave this 3.5 blossoms. The next book that I finished in the month of July was part of the ckAThon that Noria does. She chose a group book, and it was The 7 Necessary Sins for Women and Girls by Mona I think I pronounced that right. Eltahawy. Mona Eltahawy. I gave this 5 blossoms. This is a book that is a nonfiction. You know, I don't usually do nonfiction, but there was a lot of really heavy topics, really heavy, and some were really hard to get through just because of triggers and whatnot. But I really liked that the writer of the book actually narrated as well. So I listened to the audiobook of this. I really recommend it to anyone who is a person of color, a woman of color especially. And this book, I know, is not something that's particularly written for me. I mean, Mona even states that this is not written for, this is written for women of color and marginalized people and trans women. And it's just, it was such a good book. And there was a lot to it. And I did take some things out of it for myself. And that's just something more personal. And so, yeah, I think that this would be a good book for someone to pick up. The next book that I picked up was Chef's Choice by T.J. Alexander. It is a rom-com, specifically a trans rom-com. This is the second book after Chef's Kiss, which I enjoyed very much. And we're following the protagonist from that book, her roommate. And she has an issue with her job and goes off to find her best friend and her roommate to talk to her. But where that person happens to be busy because there's a lot going on in their new business. And she's just waiting for them to be able to have time to talk to her. So while she is waiting, she is standing there and, you know, just minding her own business. And this man is standing there and he's just totally frantic. He's asking women to just please pretend to be his girlfriend for like just a few minutes while he takes a phone call, and nobody's like saying yes. He's like, I will pay you $1,000. And then of course she's like, well, I have an issue with my job and $1,000 sounds really good right now. So she says yes, sure, what do I gotta do? Come up with a little bitty story. Then he takes a call. It ends up being his grandpa. Now he is a piece of work. You come to find out that Jean-Pierre is a trans man, and grandpa hasn't been very accepting of this change. He's kind of I'm just going to say, he's a dick. And he's got it in writing or whatever that he has to do this test in order to inherit his grandfather's money and wealth or whatever. So he's like, I'm just going to prove him wrong that I can do this and I'm going to get some money. But then instead of just being a few minutes, somehow it ends up that they have to remain that way because grandpa says, yeah, your girlfriend can, do it with you. And that has to do with cooking. Now, in Chef's Kiss, by the time I ended that book, I had such a craving for fresh, hot, buttered bread. This one had me craving cheese, grilled cheese, mac and cheese. Lots of cheese. If there's a third book, I'm a little nervous about what it is I'm going to be craving by the end of the books. I'll deal. I will. I gave this 3 blossoms. It was very funny. Had a lot of things that they were dealing with. A lot of issues, especially in the trans world. But it was a good book. It was good. I enjoyed it. There you go. So that took care of my F transphobia. And the book prior to that, the 7 Sins one, is the one that I read for and used for F misogynoir. So I do like the ckAThon, I really do. And I think for settler colonialism and all that stuff, after that I'm going to use Boudica, because the Romans, they just, moseyed on in, set their own rules, expected everybody to follow along. We'll just use that. I digress. I am off to the very next book, which was part of Noria's Patreon. It was called The Salt Roads. This is by Nalo Hopkinson. It was a historical fiction fantasy. It kind of read like a mix of poetry and storytelling, which I enjoyed more as the audio than I did the ebook. So I switched from ebook to audio and continued the book that way. I really enjoyed the way you had 3 different stories that were going on. So you had what was happening on the sugarcane plantation with the slaves, and then you had what was going on in Paris with a young dancer, and then you also had an Egyptian woman that was in Egypt and like a whorehouse. There's no other way to a sex house. So she was doing her thing, and then she was traveling with her friend, and it was all, I don't know. It was all very interesting because this deity or spirit sort of kept bouncing between one mind to the next and experiencing and growing and learning from each person the ways of what was going on in the world. So I found that very fascinating. So I gave it 4 blossoms. Lastly, the last book that I finished in July was Lightbringer by Pierce Brown. This is the 6th book in the Red Rising saga. Oh my God. The fight scenes, the political machinations that are going on, and then oh my God, just stuff. And the action and Lysander is I hope something really bad happens to him. I do not like that character. I think we're not supposed to like him, but I really don't like him. He's a little poop. And Darrow, of course, is actually making some decent decisions at this point. So yeah, I can't, a whole year waiting for the next book. It's going to be hard. I'm going to have to reread this series from the very beginning to now. I'm going to have to reread it. And what's funny is I listened to the audiobook completely forgetting that I also had a copy of the ebook. So I could have read along with some immersion reading, but I completely forgot all about it because I was so busy using the Lightbringer audiobook while I got things packed and ready to go for my birthday trip. Which basically our Christmas present from our sister was to go see Pink. So off we went, and oh my gosh, what a ride! I'm getting ahead of myself. Completely forgot to say, I rated this 3. Did I say I rated it 4 blossoms? I don't know. I can't remember. But it wasn't 4 blossoms. It was 5. Well, I can't even talk. I'm so tired. I'm still very, very tired from the trip. Because my sleep schedule is all wonky. Okay, I have a few weeks before school starts and I can get it back, or it needs to be. But yeah, I had such a great time. I mean, we got to the hotel, which wasn't very far from Salem, and so we were able to check in a little bit early, got our bags and stuff all done, and then we went into Salem and we walked around Salem and enjoyed some of the shops. It was very expensive. I was specifically looking for a deck of tarot cards. You'd think Salem, I should be able to find something. Nothing jumped out at me. Nothing. So yeah, didn't really get much. I did end up picking up a container gardening booklet, which has some really neat different ways of making container gardens. And then I picked up this bookmark with my birth date on it. So yay. There's that. And then the next day we got up, had a nice little breakfast there at the hotel, and then we went off and we hit the Burlington Mall because I needed a bag for the concert that was small. Got that, and then we got to the concert finally after we rested for about an hour, and I got a pink t-shirt. It even has like the concert dates on the back. And then my sister got me that, and she got me this canvas bag. It has Pink's Summer Carnival Tour on that, and it was so awesome. And then I love the whole thing, but the finale with her flying around the stadium was really cool. I think it was DJ Kid Cut Up that got the party going with some music, and then he was in between a couple of the other bands. We had Group Love performed and opened for Pat Benatar. Group Love performed and opened for Pat Benatar. Kid Cut Up came back on, did some more DJing, and then announced Pat Benatar. Pat Benatar did her thing. And then after that, it was just everybody. You could see them getting ready for Pink to come out, getting the lights and stuff ready, and that was really cool. And then she came on, and she put on such a good show. It was so amazing. It was so much fun. We had this, you could tell that there were like some friends out there that were like, came together that are like my age. And they were having such a good time. And they were just, laughing and dancing, and it was just so much fun to watch. I'm so glad that I got to experience that with my sisters at Fenway Park. So yeah, it was wow. Getting in was easier than getting out. That was to be expected, bigger crowd at the end. So yeah, I even it took us about an hour to get out of Boston to get back to the hotel, but as we were leaving, I saw this little old lady all hunched up with her white short hair and her sparkly pink sequin top and the pink little skirt that she had on, and she's just making her way across the road to wait for an Uber, I'm assuming, because there was a bunch of people waiting for Ubers. And I was like, it takes all ages, all ages. There were kids there with their moms. It was just so much fun. It was like the best birthday ever. The only thing I was missing was cake and ice cream. But that's okay. I didn't need that. I think at some point this week I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna either find myself a piece and put a candle on it and make a wish. But yeah, it was so much fun. I'm so glad I got to experience that with my family. So we even started talking about other places that we'd like to see together, and at one point started talking about maybe visiting Canada. So there's some places that we'd like to see, but unlike when we were kids and you can get up there for nothing, you need a passport now. So yeah, that's something I need to work on. But yeah, that's it. Those are the books that I read. That's all the stuff I did for my birthday. That's such a wow, what a memory. What a memory. So yeah, I hope everyone else is enjoying their reading, enjoyed their month of July. I can't believe that summer's like half over already. And yeah, staying hydrated. I don't think I did very well with that the last few days. So I need to get myself back in gear now that I'm home. So yeah, get back into routine. I think maybe I might try something different in the next few weeks with my channel. It is, wow, today is my booktube birthday and I completely forgot. Oh my gosh. Well, happy book birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Oh well. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you want to see more of my face. Hit the little bell icon down below and you'll be notified when I do post a video. Till next time. Bye.